21st century, we can gaze entire the world through with satellites. In one spot, that's satellites with vivid dazzling lights. There's one black mark that painfully touches our hearts. It is North Korea, spreading fear inside of lights, depriving people of their thoughts and the right to choose 21st century totalitarian dictatorship. Education shapes our thoughts and actions. It is crucial to understand the impact it has on us. Now, let us embark on this journey together. Explore how curious thinking can help us comprehend the world and drive positive change. Education transcends any borders and has the power to transform individuals. From North Korea to China and finally in the UK, I've been learned that regardless of where we come from, the key lies in facing challenges, embracing change, and growing. One truth I've discovered is that even if oppressive rulers try to suppressing people's thoughts and label their actions, education remains an unstoppable and powerful weapon. People born in modern democratic nations often grow up listening to fairy tales and enjoying beautiful melodies from the womb. They are nurtured with loving stories and enchanting melodies from their parents. However, having born in North Korea, I had never chance to experience fairy tales or melodies. My journey began in silence, devoid of the comforting harmonious and narrative tones that many take for granted. There are many programs. Born in North Korea, we from a young age often grew up, didn't know what ideology meant. Instead of learning numbers from our parents, the nurtured about imagination, those numbers became tools for how many people deaf are counting as I played war games. The initial lessons were about worship sermon, and as a result, children who should have grown up brightly found themselves haunted by nightmare, memorizing of dictators in even their sleep. Born in North, as I stepped into doorway into the of education during my kindergarten days, fear preceded laughter. Education plays a critical role in shaping the future of a nation, particularly emphasizing the need for education that promoted critical thinking, self-respect, and empathy towards others. In authoritarian regime, however, in education often infused worship with the dictator, forcing a culture of hatred, empathy toward perceived enemies. Lifelong animosity, the racial discrimination and dehumanizations ingrained suppressing positive thoughts and imposed upon human rights. During my education was focused not on envisioning of a world of prosperity, peace, and equality for all, but rather than contemplating how many enemies I could eliminate today. Such negativity overshadows the true purpose of my education. In today's context, mathematics is not merely about numbers. It teaches a philosophy for life. However, the mathematics I encountered was part of the education system that resembled chivalry, where satisfaction was derived from eliminating summon and pricing a dictator in even midst beautiful melodies during musical education class. There was no room for genuine self-express or individual will. Especially at the family dining table, it meant comfort to sharing our daily life with families. We lack an opportunity peacefully to sharing our daily life with families. The books on our bookshelves were all about ideologies, and newspaper, TV, and discussions were under pressure to someone's agenda, forcing to us worship and memorizing. It is explorer. This was a reality of my educational experience. As we grew older, our minds remained stagnant, becoming slaves to the dictator. Do you know what it's like to live as a slave? If we associated slavery in 18th century, we might think about the physical and mental enslavement. However, if we realized that it still exists in the 21st century, it is appalling. I was a modern-day slavery in the 21st century. Literature talked to us, worship someone. Science focused on hacking individuals or nations rather than global development. History compelled to us learn balanced lies, and psychology prioritized hatred, resentment, and discriminations over moral characters. While the purpose of education is to realize the people, the education I received was a poison pushing me into a buttocks. While consuming this poison, I was oblivious to the world, unaware of the meaning behind the Olympic logos and the timing of Germany reunification, or why is the United Kingdom instead of England? Now, myself discussing international issues with Westerners and emphasizing educations, it is truly astonishing, even to me. When I first arrived in the UK, I was amazed by the newspaper scattered on the street. The content not only criticizing government, but also features personal stories, food columns, movie reviews, and many more. However, witnessing people freely express their opinions, not only criticizing government, but was shocking. However, before the impact could fully settle, what truly knocked me down, the realizations I was read once in newspaper, but the destiny was the trash bin. On familiar English, I was anxious. Surprisingly, it wasn't me, but the newspaper ended up trash bin. Who would indeed report it? What to do if police come? There was concerns, but fortunately, none of my worries materialized. Instead, I later discovered not only one person, many people were finding and reading essential information from newspaper. Children taking first steps in the world, everything is curious and fascinating. They taking everything, putting their hands and taking things in their mouth. Everything me first time was both fascinating and dangerous. Abandoned even even with abundant informations in the new world, and everything is curious for me. If I didn't find essential informations in here, could be I just is returning to the past ones. In the new world, I keenly felt the importance of education and information. It's not only social life, but also at home. Studying in the UK, my children receiving an overwhelming amount of information, making it difficult to share their life with them. Feeling the urgently to learn English, I embarked on this journey that opened up a new world for me. Yet, there was one thing I urgently realized, different in ethical perspectives between authoritarian and democratic education. In North Korea, I excelled in subjects like math, physics, chemistry, and biology compared to people in the UK. However, what made me distinct was the emphasis on ethical values. In North Korea, every subject we learned is geared toward serving one person, often involving criminal activities like cyber hacking and threatening others with their personal data, or even developing nuclear weapons for the so-called great cause. Contrastingly, democratic education teaches values of mutual respect and considerations for others, emphasizing the human aspects for character. A country that neglected teaching ethical advocacy risks losing its future. Education, rather than just fostering respect for others, is a splendid space that's emphasizing self-understanding, the courage to stand up for oneself, and opportunity for self-reflection. Prominent politicians and philosophers, especially students in positions like yours, have wonderful mentors. These mentors, in turn, have parents and other mentors who nurtured them. If we forget them, what will we pass in the next generation? Nowadays, AI is influencing people, taking away roles humans used to have. While the 21st century is an era of collaboration with IT, machines should remain devices moved by us, not turning us into robots controlled by devices. Especially, AI cannot teach us about the basic human attitudes of ethics, the genuine education of looking into others' hearts, and the beautiful values of caring for others in the 21st century. I have learned from the dictator that a democratic country can be perceived as a capitalist society, essentially a corrupt and ailing one. In authoritarian states, capitalism is promoted as an ideology, but it tends to strip away the values that humans fundamentally possess. This form of education indoctrinates people to view their leaders as providers, keeping them tethered like sheep to a post, receiving sustenance while being brainwashed into submission. In contrast, in a democratic nation, individual choices are respected. Opportunities are given, and the failures do not lead to isolating individuals as societal outcasts. Instead, they are offered new chances to carve their own paths, fostering courage for a beautiful journey that is rarely found in authoritarian states. The truth I've realized about education is not learning for the sake for specific individuals, but oneself. Cultivating a character that respected oneself eventually sprouts seeds of respect and empathy towards others. One crucial point to note is that no matter how much knowledge one accumulates through extensive readings, the lack of courage to extend a helping hand to others signifies a failure in education. Thank you.